troublemaker. I've been a late night player. I've been broke as a joke. I've been a money maker. I've been a record breaker, taking credit as an educator. I've been known to spit the flows and make it shaky, shaky thing. Popping, locking, stop and let it hang. Watch us as we drop this hip hop, it's like it stings. We make the whole room drop and everybody sing. We want the funk. We gotta have that funk. We kick it old school. We think we're so cool. We take it back to the past. We gonna act a fool. Up jumps the middle finger. Make my Jaeger just.
Hello, and welcome to Sports Buzz, a Fan-atical View. I am your host, Scott D. Lewis, here live in studio, Comcast Cable, Channel 23, downtown Danbury, Connecticut, on this March 30th, which was a relatively nice day. We had a little sun yesterday, a little sun today. But the clouds were moving in, and the wintry mix, the dreaded wintry mix, is on its way overnight.
And
not
rain.
happy about that. Into tomorrow, we thought maybe spring was here, but not quite yet. Not quite yet. Even though April is right around the corner, a couple days away. We will be in the month of April, which means baseball is about to get underway. Spring training is wrapping up. The Masters is on its way next week. We'll have a national champion in college basketball on Monday night. So all the telltale signs of spring are here. We just need the weather to
cooperate.
That would be nice.
That would be nice. I mean, tomorrow we're supposed to have rain but we need the rain.
Yeah, we're still a little low. It's coming out of that drought situation last year. Well, as long as it's rain and not ice and or sleet and or snow.
Yeah, the pick of the weekend is supposed to be Sunday, they say.
Oh, yeah, Sunday's
supposed to be like 60 and sunny.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's good news. I had not heard that, so I will look forward to that then, perhaps. All right, so we're here at 637 live. Phone number 203-792-4101. My right-hand man is here, Mr. Bob Raw Jr. Hello.
Hello, Scott.
Are you still full from all the chili you ate at the chilly winter warm-up at the Dome?
We had a very good turnout.
Yeah, good turnout down there?
Yes, we did.
And who did you say was the winner this year?
Family and Children's Aid.
Family and Children's Aid come through with the top chili in the area. City Center of Danbury, they always do really well. They finished third. I'm not sure who finished second. How did the Westerners team do?
The Westerners did very well.
Yeah? We see Westy was there.
Yes, Westy was there.
And that's good. Always good to see Westy.
They had some new stuff this year, too. They started something new at the Dome.
What'd they do?
Called, they're doing like a bocce, but it's called lawn bowling.
Really?
Yes. They're starting teams.
And so like a week-to-week league type situation?
Yeah.
Wow. All right, well, the Dome has got a lot going on. It's a good setup over there. I've been to there to watch some soccer games. So pretty good. And since we're talking about Westy and the Westerners, how about let's give a plug to the Westerners Celebrity Breakfast this year. We know
Doctor will be in the house.
The doc is in. 23rd Annual Celebrity Breakfast, June 9th, 7:30 a.m. at Danbury's Amber Room. So that should be very good, and it's going to be very interesting to see what kind of performance Dwight Gooden gives. We know he's still battling with his issues off the field.
And then June 9th that night, we have our game opener.
Yeah, well, that'll get here soon enough. We got a couple months before we get to that. The beginning of May, we have the other charitable event that we talk about, and let's start talking about it for the first time this year. Play for Purpose is back. Third year, or is it fourth at this point?
I'm not sure.
But Play for Purpose is back. You know, our friend Caden, who I ran into the other day, was very excited. His hockey team finished third this year. He had a pretty good season for him, but he's excited. May 4th through May 7th up in Ridgefield at the Ice Arena there.
It's 24 hours, right?
72 hours.
72 hours, excuse me.
They have their opening ceremony on that Thursday night. They get the game going, I believe, at like midnight that night or something. And they play straight through till Sunday at some point. So it's like 3 straight days of hockey. You can go to Play for Purpose, I think it's .org. Maybe we have that on there. .org. You can find out all the information if you're a hockey player or if you know somebody who plays hockey, wants to contribute to the cause. They need players to fill out that 72-hour hockey game.
I know who comes on tonight will be there. Marty Heiser.
Marty Heiser, yeah, he plays for a guy.
He plays, and he also does the refereeing.
That's right, he does. So that's good. So Play for Purpose, we'll talk about that leading up, but we got about a month for that. Bob's Show Spotlight on Tuesday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 12. You can see some of the chili cook-off, I believe, in this week's episode. And Mike Toohey, our director, Expose Cinema, Friday nights at 9, Wednesdays at 1. I believe he is joined by the long-lost Met Maniac, Mike McFadden. Did he walk in the door as we were getting ready?
Yes.
Yes, he did. All right, so happy to hear that McFadden made it. And he is here, and the kids are in there. The production assistant extraordinaires are in there, Jenner and Connor as well. Helped us get set up. Let's get on to the action. Bob, how's your bracket? Mine is destroyed.
Oh, mine was shot after the first.
You weren't doing that good after the first weekend. I was doing pretty well after the first weekend. I think it's the first time ever, Bob. I got X's all over this place. Oh. X. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I got nothing left. I've never had like a bracket where there was not one team in there. I usually
still
have
alive, right?
Somebody alive. Everybody out, and I don't think that many people.
The only one in my bracket's alive is North Carolina. Everybody else is shot.
I'm sure there's a decent amount of people that have Carolina. I'm sure there were some holdouts who went with Gonzaga, but South Carolina and Oregon, probably not that many people. No. And the combination of these four teams, I highly doubt anybody
we were
had
talking
at all.
Before the show. I mean, the odds of North Carolina, South Carolina is very good. I mean, it's 50-50.
Well, we got a chance for it to be an all-Carolina final. We have a chance for it to be an all-West Coast final. Right. Very interesting setup. Or it could be, one versus the other, West Coast versus Carolina team. We'll see. Personally, I will give you my picks, who I think will get through. I like Gonzaga, and I do like Oregon to knock off Carolina and get in. I've been impressed with both those teams. Ironically enough, you think of the West Coast teams, Bob, and they are typically viewed as soft.
Right.
But Gonzaga and Oregon playing a pretty physical, tough style of defense, both and games. They rated as the top defensive teams in the country. West Virginia was right there, and Gonzaga was tested hardcore by Press Virginia in the Sweet 16 game, and that was a bloodfest right there. Gonzaga prevailed 61-58. They're coming up with the shots down the stretch, much like Oregon is doing as well in these tight games. They're figuring out a way to get the stops they need and the baskets they need. So we had some pretty good games, but it is South Carolina versus Gonzaga and Oregon versus North Carolina. The Elite Eight games, it was Florida falling to South Carolina. Florida had a 10-point lead at halftime. South Carolina came out like gangbusters in the second half. And there we see Florida, how they advanced to the Elite Eight with that buzzer beater against Wisconsin in the Sweet 16, the 84-83. That was, I think, the official only buzzer beater of the tournament. We've had a lot of one-point games and late shot victories, but there was always at least a tenth or so second, like that North Carolina Kentucky. I believe there was 0.3 of a second left when Carolina knocked out Kentucky. And that was deja vu, really, Bob. If you remember the championship game from last year, they hit the shot to tie it, and then Villanova came right back to win it. And they did the same thing as Kentucky hit the shot to tie it, and they came right back down and hit the shot to win it. But, some great games. Let's actually go through what the top games were. We mentioned that Florida-Wisconsin game. And how about Wisconsin, Bob? For the last 4 years, just providing everybody with top-flight entertainment. Every game they play is just unbelievable. And Florida knocked them off. And then the Florida-South Carolina game we were talking about. South Carolina down 10 at halftime, and they just came right out. And they pretty much erased that deficit quickly. I'd say by about the 8-minute mark, they had the lead. And it was back and forth for a little while. They ended up pulling away and beating Florida by 7. Super impressive. I would say, a team that has no experience being this far in the tournament before, their poise and their ability to raise their level of play and stay steady and stick to their mantra, which is why not? We're in it, so why not us? And there they are right here in the Final Four, and they'll take on Gonzaga, who routed Xavier. Bill Murray was in attendance throughout the whole tournament, rooting on his Xavier team. but he did not get to see them advance to the Final Four as Gonzaga crushed them 83-50. But that was fresh on the heels of that tight game against West Virginia where they beat them 61-58. Xavier, and they came back against Arizona, my pick to win it all. How about Arizona? Sean Miller, who is considered probably the best coach to not make the Final Four, and that monkey stays on his back as he can't get it done. They were up 7 with about 3 minutes to go in that game, and Xavier came back to win it, beat and knock out Arizona 73-71. So that was a good game. On the other side of the bracket, the Oregon-Michigan game, and this is the thing, they did it against Rhode Island and they did it against Michigan.
Right.
Offensive rebounds late in the game. Huge for Oregon to get that victory over Rhode Island, and then the one against Michigan 69-68 as Michigan's magical run came to an end. But really, and in that Rhode Island game, it was the cardinal sin. Rhode Island gave up the offensive rebound on a missed free throw, and then Oregon missed that shot after they got that offensive rebound and got a second offensive rebound before knocking down the three to tie it, which ultimately gave them the chance to win it. So kids out there learning the game of basketball, crucial that you do not give up offensive rebounds late. They will kill you in these games, and Oregon did it 2 games in a row in tight ones, and then surprisingly in a not so tight one, although it got a little interesting.
It got a little dicey there for a minute.
In Kansas, as they were crushing Kansas, and they went to basically the 4-corner offense. They took like 4 shot clock violations. They let Kansas come and get to about 6 points, I believe, in this game that should not have ever gotten that close. But Oregon was able to hit a couple shots late and put the pressure back on Kansas and win it 74-60 going away. And Kansas comes up lame as a 1 seed again. Bill Self's record as a 1 seed in the tournament is not very good. We know he has won the championship that one time, but overall, Kansas, this is their thing. They come up a little short in that situation, and they do not make the Final Four. Oregon does. And then in the bottom half of that side of the bracket, North Carolina, Kentucky, in what was a good game. And how about this, Bob? 2 games or 2 weekends in a row. First, it was the round of 32. Carolina versus Arkansas, down 5, about 2.5 minutes left. Carolina goes on a 12-0 run to win that game. Then in this Kentucky game, in the Elite 8, down 5 with about 3.5 minutes to go, they go on another 12-0 run. Kentucky then responded and did make some shots. And then Carolina, the other thing kids out there watching the game of basketball should learn, do not miss your free throws late. Carolina misses 2 free throws and allows Kentucky to come down and hit the game-tying 3. Then they got the miraculous shot to win it, and they advanced 75-73. So it's Carolina, the blue blood, basically. I do have this one curious question, Bob.
What's that?
When are the sanctions going to come down on North Carolina for the more than a decade-long basic fraud of education situation they had going on there that everybody still to this day knows took place?
It keeps getting swept under that.
I mean, we've known this for 2 years now.
I know, but it hasn't.
And they have not been banned from postseason play yet. They haven't had any sanctions handed down yet. And here, 2 years in a row, after we've known this took place for over a decade, and it was university-wide, all the sports programs, football, soccer, basketball, none of these kids went to class. It was a completely fraudulent situation they set up with fake classes, kids getting grades, and yet here they are 2 years in a row in the Final Four.
It's because of
and nobody even talks about it.
B, it's only what they want to, because they sell tickets.
Well, yeah, thank God for the Final Four and March Madness. They got one of the prime time schools in there. Otherwise, it'd be Oregon, South Carolina, and Gonzaga versus who knows who. You know, but anyways, I did felt the need to at least bring that up. In case people have forgotten, since nobody talks about it, and they basically, I don't know, are they getting away with it?
Basically.
I mean, is it still an ongoing investigation?
It probably is, but it's not being. It's something that's being
I don't know.
pushed off to the side.
They took care of business against Kentucky. After Kentucky took care of business, that was a disappointing game in this Sweet 16. The Kentucky-UCLA game,
Right.
disappointing because it took place way too late at night.
Yeah, I mean,
for one.
Yeah,
I mean it's the marquee matchup, and the people on the East Coast, the game didn't start until like 10:30.
Right.
And then UCLA doesn't even show up. They got beat 86-75. That was disappointing. So I don't know. What do you think? 3 teams. This is. I personally like it when this sort of thing happens. 3 teams that have never been there before make it. Oregon, South Carolina, and Gonzaga, and then you've got Carolina with the 5 previous championships in there. What's your pick at this point, Bob? Who do you like advancing to the championship?
I would like to see North Carolina get to it. I mean, I've always been a Tar Heel kind
of. Oh, he doesn't care about the. Maybe you're the reason why these sanctions are going down. Aren't going down, Bob, because guys like you are like, oh, who cares? It's Carolina blue, Tar Heel blue. All right, so you think so you like Carolina over Oregon. What about the South Carolina-Gonzaga game? South Carolina has proven to be quite tough, but Gonzaga as well has been quite tough.
I mean, I'd like to see a all-Carolina game myself, but I mean, I would like to see Oregon and Gonzaga go at it too.
I don't know. I'm going to stick to my guns. I like Gonzaga versus Oregon in the final at this point.
Well,
I think
those two have never been.
I've been saying it for 2 weekends in a row that Carolina looks like they're ripe for the picking.
Right.
Maybe we can get McFadden to say in your ear there, just to let you know.
Mike, what do you think?
Who's McFadden like? I don't know. I just think they keep living on the edge here.
I can't hear it too.
Down 5 late, two out of the last 3 games, and they go on these late runs. Who's he like? Just give us a couple names there, Mike. No analysis.
He says Oregon.
He likes Oregon. Okay. He likes Oregon to win it all?
Oregon to win it all?
All right, we can't. That's not how this works, Mike. Unbelievable.
South Carolina.
He likes South Carolina to beat Gonzaga?
You like
South Carolina beat Gonzaga. All right. Well, we can't hear what he's saying, so we're guessing. Bob can hear him in his headset. I can kind of hear him. All right, but the audience, the more important people, cannot. So he likes Oregon a little bit. He likes South Carolina as well. All right. Well, I'm told you who I'm picking with: Gonzaga versus Oregon in the final, and I like Gonzaga.
What do you think the score is going to be?
I'd say it'll be in the 70s, 76, 72 kind of situation, and I like Gonzaga to win the whole thing.
Yeah.
I think they're ready. I think it's finally their time. I think they're going to get it done. Lady Huskies, we should mention on the women's side, are on to the Final Four once again. Unbelievable. This team just never ceases to amaze.
No.
I mean, after losing so many key players from last year's 4-year run,
they still have.
There they go. How many wins now? 113, 114, 112?
Something like that. I'm not sure exact number, but.
And they just destroyed Oregon on the way to the Final Four. And they will take on Mississippi State, who knocked out Baylor in the overtime. So they get Mississippi State, and then it's South Carolina. So how about that, Bob? 2004, I believe the only time that men's and women's program won both championships.
Because I remember
UConn men's and women's. I believe it was 2004.
I did it in '99 too.
99 they did it too?
Yeah.
I couldn't remember if the first year UConn won as men's. The women won that year as well, so we've done it twice.
Right.
So South Carolina has men's and women's teams in there. How about that? And then Stanford, which is a usual pretty good women's college basketball program, they're there as well. So Mississippi State, who historically, they've had some good teams in the past.
Right.
And they're back. But you got to figure the Lady Huskies are going to get it done the way they're playing.
I think UConn-Stanford would be a very good matchup.
Yeah? Yeah, that would be a good one. That would be kind of an old-time matchup as well. And we should mention Quinnipiac had a good run. They made it to the Sweet 16.
Right.
And lost to South Carolina. But that was pretty cool. They made it there, and there was great attendance in Bridgeport for the women's games.
Oh, yeah.
Overall, in the other brackets and in the other locations, attendance was way down.
Right.
But in Bridgeport, with the help of UConn being there, attendance was packed. So a lot of people in Connecticut were able to get out and see some good basketball there. All right, speaking of basketball, let's stay on that side of things before we move to hockey and get some crucial standings. NBA, which I came up with today, Bob, at times stands for nobody active, with the way the teams do all the resting.
Hey, your Celtics were
at least the Celtics don't rest their players.
And then last night was just
one day they had as the top seed in the East, Bob. It was kind of like Baylor earlier in the season in college. One day as the number one.
And then it went
in the AP rankings, and they lose.
Yeah.
So the Celtics lose at home last night to the Bucks, 103-100. The Bucks are surging right now. How about Jason Kidd got his team playing very well? They are tied for 5th and or 6th place with Atlanta. So the Bucks not only securing the playoff spot, but securing possibly, an upper seed there, moving all the way up possibly to number 5 as they get the big win last night in Boston. So the Celtics fall percentage points behind the resting Cleveland Cavaliers, who played all their players the other night and got crushed in San Antonio. Curious thing here, Bob. All right, so the Cavaliers 47-26. I mentioned they've been doing the NBA a disservice, much like Golden State did, resting a bunch of their players. San Antonio was the team that started this years ago. Could you imagine, Bob, Larry Bird and Magic Johnson coming in a marquee NBA matchup, middle of the season, saying, this is the game I'm going to rest? Could you imagine them doing that?
No, they would never do that.
Those were huge games for those guys. They always wanted to prove themselves against the best, and they always wanted to put on a show for the NBA and the fans.
Right.
This is the thing that bothers me the most about when these teams rest. They rest in marquee matchups.
Right.
I mean, they are getting paid so much money, and the majority of that money comes from the TV contracts, which are astronomical.
Right.
And then in recent weeks, 2-3 weeks in a row, the NBA's marquee Saturday night matchup saw teams playing with nobody active.
Right.
3-4 guys per team sitting.
Right. I mean, that's
so not only are the fans who bought the ticket to go, and it might have been there one time to see LeBron James play or Steph Curry play or anybody like that play, they paid their money to go see, but also the TV networks, they got to be losing their mind.
Right.
They're paying mucho dollars for ads and whatnot, and to the NBA to get the contract, and nobody plays, and these games are unwatchable.
Right.
Outrageous. If you're going to rest, pick and choose your spots. Rest at home when your home crowd can see you 41 times a year, not on the road to people who get a chance one or twice a year to see you come into town. And don't pick the marquee matchups.
Right.
These are the league needs that. You got to be above that. The league is always bigger than the players, but the players think they're bigger than the league.
Right.
Anyways, so the Celtics spent one day there. And so the interesting point is, the Celtics are 48-27. The Cavaliers, percentage points ahead of them at 47-26. So they've played 2 less games than everybody else. So what do they need the extra rest for? They've been getting a break with their schedule anyways. They haven't played as many games.
I know. So
and why this late in the season, where 8 games left, 6 games left, depending on which team you got, has the schedule makers put that into place? Everybody should have played the same amount of games, maybe one game here or there, depending on the night. But to have a 2-game disparity in the schedule at this point in the season is crazy.
No.
That doesn't make any sense.
No.
So it's Cavs in the 1 spot right now, barely, 47-26. Celtics 48-27. The Wizards behind them, 46-29. They lost last night. Toronto getting healthy and getting hot. Winners of 7 straight, and Kyle Lowry's been out for about 3-4 weeks now, and he's about ready to come back. So don't sleep on Toronto, Bob.
No.
A lot of people are sleeping on them right now because Lowry went down, but he'll be back.
Right.
And they made the moves at the deadline to get some key players to come in to help them. So I think Toronto is a team to watch out for.
3 or 5?
Are we down to 3? We went from 10 minutes to 3 like that?
Oh,
I didn't see the 5. All right. So we will quickly move ahead because we got to get to hockey if we only got 3 minutes left. As you blow up my mojo with what I'm doing. Bruins, winners of 2 straight. Crucial game last Saturday night at the Islanders, winning 2-1 after the Islanders had pulled it within a tie in the standings with them. And they are the number 2 wildcard team behind your Rangers at 86 points. They have a crucial home game against former player Tyler Seguin and the Dallas Stars, who are out of the playoffs, on NBC Sports tonight at 7:30. So I will be heading out of here and heading home to watch that game. Right behind them, Islanders now in 4th in that wild card. So Tampa Bay got real hot recently, winners of 3 straight, including being down 3-1 in Chicago the other night. So they move ahead of the Islanders, who have 82 points and are 4 behind the Bruins. The Tampa Bay Mighty Ning at 83 points, 3 behind the Bruins. They're versus Detroit. How about this, Bob? Detroit's 25-year run in the playoffs over. That is over. They are officially out. They will not make the playoffs. The Bruins remain the team with the longest ever streak in any of the 4 major sports. 29 years in a row the Bruins went to the playoffs. And that was farther back when not as many teams made it in every year. But the Bruins did that. Right now, currently, quick guess, who do you think has the longest in the 4 major sports current active playoff streak now that Detroit's is over?
My Rangers?
Come on.
Okay, I tried.
San Antonio Spurs, 20 straight years in the playoffs in the NBA. All right, so, it's interesting what's going to happen here. The Islanders, I don't know if they're going to make it, but it's basically a playoff game every game right now for all these teams as they are fighting it out. In the West, there is no race at all. The LA Kings, with our Connecticut kid, Jonathan Quick, they are 10 points out of the playoffs. They're the closest team to getting into the playoffs with only 8, 9, 10 games left. So they are done. There's no race out in the West, which is pretty crazy. Chicago, Minnesota, St. Louis, Anaheim, San Jose, Edmonton, breaking a 10-year drought, getting in. Calgary and Nashville are the teams that will be in the West. In the East, we mentioned there's still some teams fighting. Tampa Bay, Islanders, Carolina close. Flyers probably not close enough. Bruins trying desperately to hold on.
Quick thing.
What do you got?
I just want to put a shout out to a good friend of ours.
Let's say hello to our guy Jack Deering, and let's do that. We hope he's feeling well. We talked to him right before the show. He's been having a little health problems, but Jack is a good friend of the show, former longtime guy with the Danbury Westerners, been on their board and part of the organization there for a long time, but we said hello before the show. We say hello to him as we head out of the show. Good job by Team USA in soccer this year and Team USA in baseball. Jack's favorite sport, of course, winning the World Baseball Classic, and Team USA got a win and a draw, getting them back in a good spot in the qualifying. All right, we're here live next week. See you.